From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
You human
On the point of order.
Honorable they are not picking our calls. They made up their mind.
So no agreement with the EU, but
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what's the blood.
I have fought a very family.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
people into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
You human
On the point of order.
Honorable
You're a human
On the point.
They are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
Good evening and welcome to Sports Talk on Atlantic Television Network. My name is Kinsley Emmanuel and I'm very happy to be here this evening to bring you up to speed with the latest revolving around the world of sports. Open our menu this evening. Chukwuebuka Nekuchi laments poor kids at World Indoor Championship. Coming in from basketball, LeBron James set new career record, and in football, Rivers United flew into CAF Confederation Cup quarterfinals. These and many more will be yours after the short time out. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Oh, what a point to end it on.
So now this is when they're at their best. That's when they're 12 years for this. So drink it in.
Still goes to Arthur.
Hey, welcome back. Steve Sports Extraordinary on Atlantic Television Network. And of course, I'm not alone in the studio this evening. I have with me Emmanuel Michael. Michael, good evening to you and welcome to Sports Extraordinary.
Yeah, good evening to you, Kinsley, and good evening to our viewers out there. Always a pleasure doing this with you, Kinsley.
All right, we saw some impressive action over the weekend, and we're going to be taking a look at those, actions. We saw Manchester United; they couldn't actually capitalize on that in that encounter against Manchester City after taking the lead, and Liverpool leaving it late, of course, to take out 3 points against Nottingham Forest. And talking about Rivers United, down here at the Gosling Akpabio International Stadium, they were able to go through against Dream FC 2-1. It ended in that particular one. And the Pride of Rivers, of course, they've once again qualified for the quarterfinal stage of the CAF Confederation Cup. The big question is, how far can they go this time around? We'll talk about that on the show. Well, Michael, let's talk handball this evening, as Nigeria under-18 men's handball team finished second after their 22-16 defeat by Kosovo Sunday in the final of the International Handball Federation Women's Trophy Intercontinental Phase in Tashkent, Kosovo. With a 75% shot ability, Nigeria did play with determination to draw the first half 10-10. The second half was another kettle of fish as turnover set in to curtail the girls, and Kosovo took their chances from near side. A lot of stats in that particular encounter, Michael. I don't know what you make of the performance of Coach Shitu Agbola's side.
Of course, it was an impressive outing for them, I must say, because heading into this very one, you saw the coach talking about Agbola Shitu, talking of giving us hope out there that they were going to go out there and fight for every game. And of course, they started it off in their first game. They emerged victorious, and in their second game as well, they also won their second game. And for me, coming second in this kind of a championship is a big boost of the morale of the player and the coach as well. Because for me, I think they actually did us proud out there. Because looking at the time that they had to prepare for that very one, going out there, and of course, you expect some of the players out there making their international outing for the first time. What it is to go out there and experience a new environment, a new thing altogether, a new courts, for you to play that is quite different from what you used to have here back in the country, and all of that. So for me, I think I want to say kudos to them because they actually fought very gallantly, and of course, coming second is not a bad one. Going forward, we must also take the positive out of this very one. As we come back, there is need for us to recuperate and also start preparing in earnest for the next, championship that is coming forward. We should not just relax on our own because of this good and impressive outing, but we must also take some positive out of the loss yesterday as well, and also build up from there going forward. So for me, I think we should also look at some of the key players out there that have also stand out for me, and also try to put our nose on the ground to find other quality players out there to add to the rank and also shape them up. And if we can be able to, keep them together for a quite long time, I assure you that synergy, that understanding, will be there going forward. And I think for me, like I said, it was an impressive outing for them, though they could not be able to, finish first, but coming second is not a bad one.
Impressive outing, of course, for the under-18 girls of Nigeria in the handball international. In the handball, tight championship we saw. We hope, of course, they continue with this impressive momentum, just like Micah has said. But let's talk athletics as we hear two-time African champion Chukwuebuka Enekuchi has taken a subtle dig at officials for the Athletic Federation of Nigeria about the poor planning and quality for the kids the athletes wore at the World Athletics Indoor Championship in Glasgow. The World Indoor Athletics Championship ended on Sunday with no Nigerian athletes so far making the podium finish at the championship. In a post-match video interview with Making of Champions, the 31-year-old Enekuchi berated the Athletic Federation of Nigeria for not providing athletes kits for the championship in Glasgow. Michael, what do you make of Enekuchi's gesture of always lamenting whenever the kits, of course, maybe are not brought in time, or the quality of the kits are not good enough, or maybe they didn't even provide it, for the athletes? What do you make of the fact that he always voice out in things like this?
Of course, for me, I think you need to be very vocal when you find out that something that is going on is not quite okay with you as a professional representing your country. To be an honor for you to also, do that, with all the support backing you out there. But when you have some loophole somewhere, just because of the fact that the Athletic Federation is not, paying much attention to some of the things which matters more. There may be very, very little, but then these things matters most. For Enekuchi, I think this is not the first time that the Athletic Federation is not providing some of the athletes with the needed kit for them to be able to kit up proper. We saw the last video some time ago where he was actually videoed washing some of his, jerseys out there. It simply means that there was not enough jersey. You have to wash and go for a game. When you come back after all the hustle and puzzling, on the court out there or in the pitch out there, you still need to come back and try to wash it by yourself. I think for me, these are things that, we shouldn't be heard of. This is not the first time, like I said, he also voiced it out. And for me, it has become a recurrent decimal. And if he doesn't speak out, who then is going to speak out? How can we provide solution to some of these challenges out there? Because for me, I think it's a challenge if the Athletic Federation is not providing the necessary kits, the necessary tools, materials for some of these athletes, to be able to don on and perform their duty out there whenever they go to represent the country. Then it's a problem for us. So I think for me, taking a swipe at the Athletic Federation, for me on the media, I know so many persons will not be at home. It won't go down well with some persons out there, for Enekuchi to come out to the media to be able to, take a swipe at the Athletic Federation of Nigeria. So many persons, might not find it very, very funny. But then, if he doesn't speak up, how then are we going to correct some of these anomalies? So for me, I think the Athletic athletic, Federation of Nigeria just need to start doing the needful, provide these necessary things. These are the basic things that will enable some of these athletes to go out there and be able to carry out their function. One of all these things that matters most is not provided for them. You expect these athletes to keep quiet, take it hook, line, and sinker as though nothing happened. For me, I mean, it wouldn't solve the problem. The only way for us to solve this issue is that when things are not going right the way we tend that it should go, then we need to come out, very plain and speak it out so that there can be the bodies that be the authority, that be can be able to profile solution to it going forward. So if you ask me, I think it is the right thing that Enekwechi is doing, calling out the Athletic Federation to do the needful. For me, it's not a bad one.
Not a bad one, at the moment. But Michael, in this particular one, no Nigerian made it to the podium. Could this be one of the reasons why we didn't see the Nigerian athletes making it to the podium at the Glasgow Championship?
Well, of course, first, I do not think that some of these things, maybe lack of proper kit, is not the reason why we couldn't perform out there. Of course, it's not the kid that is playing the game out there, but then you must also agree with me that, of course, it is necessary for you to dress proper as a sportman and woman out there. You don't go to the sport field, for example, in the football pitch out there, you are tie wrapper, you are wearing one old and outdated jersey out there. It makes you look very, very odd. It makes you look very, very unsportsmanship. But then it simply tells you that you look as though the Athletic Federation is not even concerned about what is happening, because we've heard of the issue of Toby Amotion battling with Athletic Integrity Unit. We have a couple of athletes as well under the radar of drug issue and all of that. Some of them have been banned and all of that. Enekwechi complaining. You talk about basketball, how they are struggling. That is the D Tigers and all of that. There's a whole lot of issues, bedeviling our sports activity generally, our sporting federation generally, and we need to step up, because the all-African game is just by the corner, and if we don't step up, we don't expect anything positive at the all-African game. So generally, I think it was a very, very poor outing out there for us.
Enekwechi's Nigeria representative in the men's shot put event secured his best ever finish at a global competition after a spirited display with a throw of 21.60 meters to place 6. His effort is just 3 centimeters shy of for his African record set earlier this year. The men's 400 meters, another Nigerian, to Ben Nwachukwu, narrowly missed out on the final after he clocked 46.64 seconds to place 5th in the semi-final. The race was dominated by Belgium's Alexander Doom, who smashed his personal best with a time of 45.69 seconds. Joe Keho, in second place, finished closely behind in 45.98 seconds in that particular. But let's stay away from that as we take a look at the situation of Team Nigeria ahead of the African Games. But we hear an aide to the sports minister has allegedly influenced the inclusion of the 37-year-old Cecilia Otu Akpan in Nigeria's table tennis team to the 2023 African Games in Ghana. A correspondent learned that the minister's aide, who was simply identified as Richard, told an official of the Nigerian Table Tennis Federation to include Otu Akpan's name on the list, but the official objected. However, Federation officials were left stunned when they discovered on Saturday, just few hours to the team's trip to Accra, that one of the flight tickets that was bought by the ministry had Otu Akpan's name, while team sensation and national junior champion Hope Udoka, who had been in camp for 2 weeks ahead of the games, was dropped. Sports Minister John Wanuna, in reply to a text message from our correspondent, said he had been briefed on the issue, adding that Udoka and Akpan will be included in the team. Michael, what do you make of this? We're talking about you infusing a very young player into the team, and you're taking a certain 37-year-old Otu Akpan to the All African Games in Ghana, we've been complaining and we've been talking that the players we have in the Table Tennis Federation, of course, they are fading away. The likes of Haruna Kodri, the likes of Omotola, Fatima Bello, Funke Oshunaike. I mean, I've not even seen her for the past, few months now in action. And this is a certain player, of course, that can do well, and you're dropping him to bring a 37-year-old, player. I don't know what you make of this situation.
For me, I think bribery and corruption has eaten deep. It has been eaten deep into the fabrics of the society, and the sports angle or the sporting arena of Nigeria also is not left out of it. And this is what you get where people try to, bribe their way, try to shortchange the process in order to accommodate people who they feel that, is their own. And for me, that is the reason why we continue to get it wrong out there, that if you don't know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, then it invariably means that they are not going to, break even. This is a young player out there that we expect that is going to be the future of tennis out there. But then because of the bodies that be, they felt that they have their own person out there, so they can also manipulate and shortchange the process just to accommodate their own. A 37 years old choosing in place of one who is much younger, 17 to 20 years, I think for me is quite disappointing. And when the sport minister get to hear these kind of things, I expect him to take a very drastic action for me. Is either by suspending or utterly, dismissing this kind of aide who did this, because I know he must be using the platform of the sport minister, to also do this. I think for me, it is the height of indiscipline, it is the height of corruption that we must also, tackle it to the root. We need to stem down the tide of corruption. It does not just boil down to those who hold political posts out there. It boils down to individuals, talking about you and I out there. What happens? There is a process, and this young kid has been, this young, tennis player has been part and parcel of the campaign for over 2 weeks. At the get-go where she should be taken along, we just find out that somebody knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody, and then they want to break the rules, thereby accommodating someone who was not in the camp. I narrated a certain story to you some time ago on this platform that I went for a trial, a football trial, in a certain popular academy out there in Abuja. A very popular academy. I don't want to mention the brand, but I know you must know the brand I'm talking about. A popular footballing academy in Abuja. We spent about 3 good weeks camping, on the serious camping, serious drilling, serious training. But what happens in the day where we were supposed to have the official games, where for the white men, the scouts came over to watch, some of us out there and be able to pick 1 or 2 players. What happened? At the eve of the day that we were supposed to play the match, we saw big cars, drive down. What we saw was some, other people, some other guys dropping down from the jeep, and they went part and parcel of the camping that we have spent there about 3 good weeks. But unfortunately and surprisingly to some of us that stayed in the camp for 3 good weeks, the coach on the day of the game had to drop almost 99.9% of us who were in the camp for about 3 good weeks and choose those people that their mom and their dad had to drive down there a day before the match. What do you make of that? So at the end of it all, we were given some speeches out there. You guys did pretty well. We wish you well. You need to go back and prepare for what lies ahead. You have great talents. We are going to nurture you and see what's come. And that is where it ended. For me, I think it has been the problem that has been deviling our sport, that if you don't know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, then even if you have a great talent out there, it will be very, very difficult for you to express your God-given talent out there, because you are not given the platform, you are not given the support, because you don't know anybody. And this is what keeps taking us backward. That is what we are seeing right here. What if someone did not fight for this young tennis player to be included. That is how we wouldn't even hear of him out there. And we'll continue to complain on the fact that we don't have talent out there. We'll continue to recycle the process by bringing in old hands that have been into the system without achieving much, thereby leaving aside some of the young talents out there that is cut across the nation. I think for me, I expect the sport minister to use his office and wield the big hammer against his aides.
All right, let's see how it goes. We'll see what will be the action of the sports minister in the coming days, though he has said that Otu and Odoka, of course, will join the team down to the All-African Games. Well, let's stay away from that as we talk about Formula One. Max Verstappen, of course, started the season with a very, very impressive, victory in the Bahrain Grand Prix. I don't know what you make of that victory for Max Verstappen this time around.
Massive one for Verstappen. His quality is never in doubt. We saw what he did last season with winning 19 out of 22. I think it was very, very massive. I'll also continue from where he stopped last season. During the test run, during the warm-up, we thought that maybe some other drivers out there is going to, such as Lewis Hamilton of Mercedes and London Norris and the rest of the drivers, the Piastri as well, not left aside, they are going to up their ante, also be able to come to the party so that they can be able to be, so that we can be able rather to see this competitiveness within the Formula One this season. But you look as though nothing is changing for the time being, looking at the first race that we saw at Bahrain a few hours ago, where Verstappen actually coasted home, that very well. I think taking a look at it critically, you say that, his engine is more effective, more better than that of, Mercedes, which for me, I think for me, there is a certain fundamental issues that is certainly wrong with the Mercedes here, because talking about the engine, their car, the reformation and all of that, I think for me they have not gotten it right, and there is need for them to begin to ask the question right now that is still very, very early, because if they don't, then I assure you Verstappen and Red Bull is going to have it the way they did it last time out.
Talking about Max Verstappen doing it this time once again, he finished fourth in the race, talking about the Bahrain Grand Prix. His teammates, Sergio Perez was second, Carlos Sainz of Ferrari was third, Charles Leclerc, of course, was fourth, George Russell of Mercedes was fifth, Lando Norris was sixth, Lewis Hamilton, of course, came seventh, and Piastri came eighth. McLaren, of course, Piastri of McLaren came eighth. Fernando Alonso took up the ninth position, and Lance Stroll, of course, took up the 10th position in that particular one. But at this point, we'll take a short break. When we come back from the break, of course, we'll bring you the latest revolving around the world of football. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
To be immortality as an athlete, 19.79. It's a goal. It's 8 goals.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honourable
You human
On the point of order, on promised to exit all of the contract, so no agreement with the EU, but
Every day, our lives are changed by history,
We are one people, all of us.
leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what the blood.
I have fought very firmly.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
The Sports Extraordinary on Atlantic Television Network. It's time for we to bring you the latest from the Nigerian Premier Football League. And of course, yesterday we saw, over the weekend, we saw some impressive results as Lobby Stars beat Katsina United by 2-0. Niger Tornadoes, of course, lost to Rangers by 2-0. And Plateau United beat Bender Insurance by 2-0. Remo Stars beat Bayelsa United by 1-0. And Michael, in that Enugu Rangers game, we saw their sporting director talking about Ezeaku. He actually had a debut, his first debut in Heartland FC, and of course they were able to get 2-0 victory in that particular one.
It was an impressive one for them out there. I think they needed that victory to also douse the tension, also fight if they can be able to make a very good impact out there when you talk about the NPFL log out there. So I think it was a great result for them.
Great results for them, but today we saw a very great result, for Aqua United as they beat Eyimba Football Club 3 goals to 1 at the Gosle Pabio International Stadium. Michael, this will be a huge relief for Aqua United and as well as their fans.
Yes, of course, they needed this result to be able to douse the tension of the fans as well. Aqua United this season having a shadow of themselves. I think they are playing their first game at the Gosle Pabio Stadium after a long while. They were playing at Eket Stadium. So I think it's a great one. They needed this victory to also, douse any fear of going to the relegation, even though they are still within the relegation battle, but then they needed this 3 points to also complement themselves on the table. And for me, I think it's a very surprising and a very shocking result. Coming up against a sitting Eyimba that is very much in form. In their last 5 games, they've won 3, drawn 1, and lost 1. And while Aqua United, in their last 5 games, they've lost 4 and won only 1 out of those games. So heading into that very one. And again, considering the fact that Lobby Stars, yesterday, bounced back to assume, the league table, I thought that Eyimba is going to do everything possible to get all 3 points against Aqua United to also keep, themselves down, chasing down the neck of, Lobby Stars, because as it stands right now, Lobby Stars is on 42 points, Eyimba is on 39 points. So for me, I thought maybe they should have gotten all 3 points so as to keep, Lobby Stars on their toes. But then it wasn't to be, as Aqua United had to, do something very, very spectacular at a point where they actually needed this one the most.
All right, impressive one for Aqua United. We hope they continue with this level of momentum. But we saw another surprising result as well, Mike, in that game between Kano Pillars and Abia Warriors. Abia Warriors actually went away and won, at the home of that result.
I think it's very shocking because we know that Kano is always very, very difficult for you to go away and pick 3 points against the northern side, because they are always very, very passionate. Their fans as well are always very, very passionate, for their team out there. For Kano Pillar, for Kano Pillar losing at home, I think it's not a positive one for them. But then, for the growth and improvement of the league, it's a positive one for the league, because we hope to see this kind of result, continuing where team will go away, pick all 3 points, come back home without any form of harassment, without any form of, molestation on the side of ref, without any form of complaints of, poor officiating. I think for me, it's a massive result for Abia Warriors.
Massive result for Abia Warriors. We hope, of course, they can capitalize on this. Michael, don't forget that Abia Warriors, of course, they actually relieved their manager, Erasmus Onu. And from what we see now, the boys, of course, they step up their game. But over the weekend, Rivers United were able to seal quarterfinal spots in the CAF Confederation Cup as they beat Dream FC by 2 goals to 1. Michael, they've qualified now to the quarterfinal of the competition. The question is, last season they were there in the quarterfinals but couldn't get past the quarterfinals. Do you see the fact that do you see Rivers United getting past the quarterfinals this time?
Honestly speaking, Kingsley is going to be a tough mountain for them to climb, because looking at their play so far, it wasn't a convincing one. Though they fell first, to 1-0, but they had to rally back and get that equalizer. And at the nick of time, they were able to get the winning goal out there, which for me, I think it was a great one, but not a perfect game for them. Because what if Lobito hadn't gone to Tunisia to be able to get a 1-1 draw out there? That should have knocked them out. But then, thank God that the whooping team of that group, talking about Lobito, APC Lobito of Angola, actually went away and did the unthinkable. But then I think how far Rivers United can go this season is going to be a very, very difficult one, because honestly speaking, I think this is going to be the end of the road for them, because we know that they will be meeting with one of the North African teams, and we know the antics of these North African teams whenever they are playing out there. They just find everything possible so to use it as a means of distracting, their opponents to ensure that they clinch the victory for themselves. And looking at the record of Nigerian clubs against the North African teams, is not a very, very good one, I must tell you, Kingsley. So, looking at the performance of Rivers United so far in the continent, I tell you, this is going to be the end of the road for them. I'm not actually wishing them bad, but looking at statistics on ground, talking from the realistic point of view, I think Rivers United is coming to end of the road for what they stand for in this year's CAF Confederation Cup.
Would it be the end of the road for Rivers United once again in the quarterfinal stage of the CAF Confederation Cup? We have to keep our fingers crossed. And talking about, this one, let's see if they can be able to move, far in this particular one. Well, let's stay away from that as we talk about the Premier League. Michael, Liverpool, of course, they continue, of course, to hold their own as they left it late to beat Nottingham Forest over the weekend. 1-0 to, of course, grab another 3 points as they sit top of the table.
Massive display from Liverpool out there. This is what actually a team that has ambition, need to do at this point in time, at this critical point in time where we have less than 10 games or thereabout before the end of the season. You are topping the table out there, closely followed by Manchester City, Arsenal as well, breathing down on their neck. They had to leave it very, very late at the nick of added time. They had to strike and take all 3 points. I think for me it's a massive display. For a certain Liverpool that have plenty of injury worries so far, and that is why you saw their last Carabao Cup final against Chelsea. They had to fill in about 6 of their junior boys, academy boys out there, for that very one. But then, nevertheless, they also had to win this very one. Coming up against, this weekend, I mean, it needed the intervention of a 9-minute goal to be able to coast home all 3 points. I think for me, Liverpool might, in quote, likely lift this Premier League this season.
Arsenal, of course, will be in action tonight. But before we talk about Arsenal, let's take a look at Manchester City because we saw them beating Manchester United after United, of course, went ahead in that encounter. What do you make of the performance of City in that game?
Massive display for Manchester City. Typical display of Pep Guardiola and his men. I think it was a mighty victory for them out there, having gone down 1-0 in the first half, courtesy of that Rashford strike for Manchester United. But then they were able to bounce back in second half. They responded in a very familiar fashion of a certain Manchester City with the Rodri, answering, coming to the party as well. I mean, Foden coming to the party by scoring twice, and Erling Braut Haaland had to put the icing on the cake at the dying stage of the game. I think it was a massive victory so as to keep up the gap, to close up the gap rather against Liverpool. But for Manchester United, it was such a shambolic display, to the chagrins of their fans out there. Having gone one goal up in the first half, we expected them to up the game and also, fight from all fronts so as to see if they can be able to get a top 4 finish. Because I stand right now, courtesy of that defeat yesterday in the hand of Manchester City, they've gone further 11 points adrift of the Champions League spots. So I think it's a very poor display from Manchester United point of view. But for Manchester City, great one for them.
Great one, of course, for City. But Arsenal, they're looking forward, of course, to close the gap tonight when they take on Sheffield United. Do you see them beating Sheffield United tonight?
We just need to pray for Sheffield United right now, because why did I say so? Our last Arsenal 3 or 4 games out here, they've been running riot against their opponents. 5 goals to nothing, 6 goals to 1, and all of that. So I think we just need to start praying for Sheffield this time around, because I tell you, it's going to be a very difficult game for them tonight. I expect Arsenal to run riot, to gun them down tonight, so as to close up the gap in the title chase.
All right, talking about other results we saw in the Premier League, Brentford played 2-0 draw against Chelsea. Everton lost to West Ham by 3 goals to 1. Fulham beat Brighton by 3 goals to 0. Newcastle United beat Wolverhampton Wanderers by 3 goals to 0. Nottingham Forest lost to Liverpool by 1 goal to 0. Tottenham Hotspur they beat Crystal Palace by 3 goals to 1. Luton Town lost to Aston Villa by 3 goals to 1. But let's bring you some of the results from the Spanish La Liga. Let's quickly go down to the results for the Spanish La Liga, as Villarreal, of course, beat Granada by 5 goals to 1. Atletico Madrid beat Real Betis by 2 goals to 1. Real Mallorca, they beat Girona by 1 goal to 0. Athletic Bilbao, they played goalless against Barcelona. And Sevilla, of course, beat Real Sociedad by 3 goals to 2. And Rayo Vallecano played 1-0 draw against Cadiz. Getafe played 3-0 draw against Las Palmas. And Valencia played 2-0 draw against Real Madrid. In the Italian Serie A, we saw, of course, Napoli beating Juventus by 2 goals to 1. But Victor Osimhen actually missed a penalty in that encounter, Michael.
Yeah,
is it that he's not so good with penalties?
Yes, going by record, you discovered that last season as well, he missed a certain penalty, which actually, caused a whole lot of raising of an eyebrow from the side of the fans out there. The whole issues that came with that very one, where the fans actually went against him. Even the their social media manager as well did something quite unacceptable, very, very unprofessional, trying to mimic Victor Osimhen. And since then, Victor Osimhen has refrained himself from taking penalties, even down to the just concluded African Cup of Nations. You could notice that whenever the Super Eagles had a penalty, Victor Osimhen would just isolate himself from that responsibility and allow Truth Ekong to take those penalties out there. So if you ask me, I think that Victor Osimhen is not good in taking penalty. And just at the dying minute of the game yesterday between them and Juventus, he won a penalty, but insisted on taking that penalty. Guess what happened? He missed the penalty, but he should have Raspadori to thank for converting the rebound to save him some of the blushes out there. So I think it was a great display from Napoli point of view. And I think since their new coach came in, he has been able to change so many things out there. They are getting positive results. This is a certain Juventus that is contending for the title, coming up against a Napoli that have struggled this season, sitting on the 9th position. Nobody expected Napoli to get that 3-point against Juventus, who is a title contender. But then Napoli came to the party as Ivica Kvaratskhelia struck a very beautiful goal before Juventus had to level it up. But then Victor Osimhen had a different game plan when he won that penalty in the dying minute of the second half, which he couldn't convert. But like I said earlier, he had Raspadori, his teammate, to thank for converting the rebound out there to save him the blushes. So I think it's a great result for Napoli, great one for Victor Osimhen as well.
Great result for Napoli and for Victor Osimhen. And Hellas Verona beat Sassuolo by 1 goal to 0. Empoli lost to Cagliari by 1 goal to 0. Frosinone played 1-1 draw against Leeds. Atalanta lost to Bologna 2 goals to 1. Udinese, of course, they played 1-1 draw against Salernitana. Monza as well lost to Roma by 4 goals to 1. Torino played goalless against Fiorentina. In the German Bundesliga, Bayer Leverkusen moved 10 points clear at the top of for the Bundesliga, following victory at Steinmann Cologne. After defending champion, Bayern Munich were held to a 2-2 draw by Freiburg on Friday. Xabi Alonso's side had a big opportunity to extend their lead. Their attacks was aided when Cologne Jan Teman was shown a straight red card for a foul at Granit Xhaka. And of course, Jeremy Frimpong then opened the scoring before Alex Grimado's low strike made it 2 goals to 0 in the second half. Leverkusen, who have now gone 34 games without defeat in all competition this season, 64 points, with Bayern second on 54. What do you make of the move, of course, for Bayern Leverkusen?
I think it's a great result for Bayern Leverkusen, and also Bayern Munich. I think they are gradually kissing goodbye to the Bundesliga this season. And for me, I think I'm very, very happy to see a different team entirely away from Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund. You know, seeing a different team entirely in Bayern Leverkusen coming up very strong to challenge and dethrone, you know, Bayern Munich from the title race this season. I think it's a great result. And Xavi Alonso, I think is one coach that, you know, he needs to be studied the way he goes about getting the result out there. 34 games unbeaten so far in all competition for this season. There is something special about this Xavi Alonso. And of course, I'm not in doubt of his quality, what he brings to the table, because you know why? He has been able to learn from the big masters. He has played under some of the big coaches, biggest coaches in the world of football, the likes of you know, Pep Guardiola, the likes of Rafael Benitez, the likes of you know, the Real Madrid coach Carlo Ancelotti and the rest. So for me, I think Xavi Alonso need to be given credit for what he has